Hi, Ian from LCG Crawler again. So been thinking about this bad boy, the Class 3 4-wheel steer C23 Flatgekko. It's a great fun truck. So capper axles and the rest of it is pretty much a Flatgekko C23. Desert Lizard shocks, longer ones on here, got 100s on here, maybe 110s, but quite long shocks. And of course, famous 2.2 Ruptures. Now, the thing I've been finding is, one, it's quite heavy. These are amazing tyres, super grippy in a lot of situations, but they're enormous. And what I've been doing is I've found that I've been knocking things with the tyres, and they're quite squidgy, as you can see. And I'm not getting that point. It's not grabbing a point. I think because it's fairly light truck. It's not pushing down enough on the tread to get a really good grip. So got thinking about that. I watched a video by West Desert Wheeler, which if you haven't followed him, brilliant, have a look. Really good guy, does some really good videos. And one of the things he had is for his 2.2, he's changed his tyre system. Now, if you've seen my previous video, if you haven't, have a look, about the Crazy Crawler foams. So I want to put these on this truck as well because they perform so well with the different thicknesses. But I still want this. I want to do something about the size of these. They're just a bit too big. I know that sounds counterintuitive. I want the height, but they're not on the width. So West Desert Wheeler did a thing where he basically did a cut and shut on some 1.9s to make them 2.2s. I thought this looks really interesting because this will give me a narrower width but still retain the height for getting up and over things, but I'll get that point weighting will be a bit higher. So here we are, first try ever, so please don't look too closely. There we are, there it is, and of course the Landmines, which is one of my favourite tyres. But a cut and shut 2.2, you can see the extra section because I used a used tyre here and then a new tyre here. A cut and shut 2.2 Landmine. Nice and narrow. If you compare it to the width on can you see the difference? It's quite a big difference in width, but not too much in height, a little bit less high, but not too much. So my thinking is, let's make some of these. I've made one, first time ever, but I thought I'll see if I can do a video so that you guys can watch along while I try and make the second one. Now, this isn't going to be a masterclass on how to cut and shut. Literally, I've done one. It's not great. It does hold together. It's working, but it ain't pretty. But if you're interested in doing something interesting with your tyres, maybe taking your 1.9s up to 2.2s or something like that, then this could be for you. I think this is a really nice way to go. I think this is going to work really well. So I'm going to persevere. So I've got some nice new Landmines. I've also got the old Landmines, which aren't very old. They've literally been run twice, and I've started cutting them up. So I'm going to take you along. We're going to try and do a second one. I've got also a Sharpie, my Lexan body scissors, because they seem to be about the best, And I've got a wheel, because that really helps when you're fitting it all together, is to have a wheel that goes together nicely just to hold everything in place. And some super glue. This is the power gel, because it's really flexible, so it sticks really quickly, which is a good thing. But it's flexible, it's bendy, so it works with a rubber. So yeah, so that's Loctite super glue power gel, and it comes in a nice little pot. So what I'll do is I'm going to flip you over to the GoPro so you can look down on the desk and follow along with me, and we'll see if we can put one together. Okay, so hopefully you can see what we're doing. We've got some tyres here, I've got another one here. That's the one I've done previously. You can see the difference in the size. It's not a massive difference, but it's big enough if I put that to the edge, you can see it's bigger by about that much. So we'll give it a try. So the first thing you've got to do is basically cut a strip around here. Now, I'm going to say what you want to do is you want to mark it out. I'm going to use one of these because they're handy. Try and find the middle, and then just run a line up there. Now, I think probably as you get better, let's line that up. So that's pretty much straight. As you get better, you probably won't need to do this, but for me, I'm gonna put a little line in there, and then that's gonna run over there. It's gonna go over that one. I probably could have chosen a better one to do this on, actually. And then it's gonna come down there. I'm going to try and make a straight line here. If the straighter the line you get, the easier it is to join it all together. So all the way over, there we go. And it's easier if you leave the foam in as well. Once you've done that, we're going to cut the tyre. So I'm going to take the foam out now. And we don't need that in there anymore. Oh, it's a bit of a fight. Go pop that over there. So there's our line, and we're going to very carefully cut all the way around. It's quite scary, I'm not going to lie to you. Brand new tyre, I'm going to cut it apart, but here we go. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to very carefully cut, or as carefully as I can. Last time I did this, it wasn't good. If you got some super sharp scissors, they'll work as well. But I found these work quite well, but you just got to be careful when you're cutting through your line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along to about here, like that. So that's looking pretty straight. And then I'm going to come in from the other side, just to make sure that the line at the bottom is pretty good. There, and hopefully bump. There we go. So fairly straight. There you go. No going back now. There it is. The next here, I'm going to take this one off here, and I'm going to mount this up onto here, and clamp it in place so I know what I'm doing. I've got my nice MIP. Put that in there. I'm just going to use 2 screws just to hold it in place. I'm not looking like for a really strong clamping, but I'm looking for it just to hold it in place nicely for me. These wheels are great for that. They're a little bit heavy for the sort of rigs I run, but when it comes to putting wheels together or not, these are just awesome. Look, I've got this locator, so it locates really nicely, and then we can pop that out the other side and take out this. This is why they're so heavy. It's got this massive thick ring in it. I think these are quite light. Be nice if I can get an alloy one. I will check with Gareth Curtis, who is the Trial guy in the UK, and see if they do a different version of those. But I'm going to pop that in there, get it sitting inside. It is a bit fiddly. I'm going to pop the ring through the back, just try and get it so it doesn't catch too much. Takes a bit of fettling to get the ring over the first bit here, so we're just going to lift that up onto the there like that, push that side in and try and get the back in like so, and it starts to give you a picture of how much space you're going to need to fill. Do the same on the front, so pop that in like that. We'll pop this one in, line it up like that. Now I was a bit worried that the bead lock rings on the rubber were going to be different sizes, but actually they seem to be pretty much the same size, so it all clamps quite nicely. There we go, going in there. Okay, so we'll check both sides and then we'll just tighten those down. So you can see what we're dealing with. That's how much extra we're adding on. It's kind of cool. Just pop one in here, like that. So it holds it in place. It's a lot easier to handle than having, because as soon as you cut that bead, you get a very floppy, for want of a better word, tire. So we'll just do those up. Like so. Boom, boom. Like that. Okay, so when I made the first one, I made this little template. See, it says keep on it. And this is pretty much the size that I want to cut out from that. So I'm going to check that in there. It's a little bit too tall because what I want to do is have obviously the bead lock in there. But what I'm looking for is, does it fill the space? And that's looking pretty good on that side. And I'll bring that back out there. You can see it's filling up the space nicely. So that is kind of like my template. It's a great idea. Once you've done one, is to cut a bit of foam, mark it out, cut it off, and then that can be your template for your next cut. So if I place that in here, you can see I'm going to put that up against that edge and make sure that angle works there. That's from my last cut. And then what I'm going to try and do is to draw with the Sharpie inside here along the edge, so I know where I'm cutting. Then I'm going to cut on the inside of that, and that should give me a really nice join. Now I'm sure there's probably a better way of doing this, but I've not seen anyone else do it. I've seen the results. West Desert Wheeler's results looked really good, so I'm kind of guessing it. So if you've got better ideas, Do I need to take much off the bottom? Let's have a look. A little bit. Okay, so we're going to take a bit off all the way around. Try and decide which looks the best side. I think we'll take a little bit off this side here. So a little bit all the way along. And then try it again. Top tip, if you wear glasses like me, put the right glasses on, it makes it a lot easier. I can't really see what I'm doing very well. There we go. Okay, let's try that. How's that looking? So that looks like it's sitting in there all right. Going on to there and in there. Now, width-wise, I could probably take a little bit off there because it's not very, it's a little bit wibbly wobbly there. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to take that bulge out just to get a nicer fit on the top. I imagine there are better scissors to do this with, but we will see. So that's sitting in there nicely. So if I hold that, I'm sorry if you can't see this really well, but I'm just trying to line it up. You'll get the idea when you try it. Yeah, I need to take a load more off, I think. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the black and I'm just going to mark just here, just because I want to see how much I'm taking off. So I'm just going to use the black pen. Yeah, you can see actually it's quite a lot more's got to come off. So about 5 mil more. So we'll take another 5 mil. I'm just checking the bottom. Is it just, see that looks to be about right on the bead. And that side, is that side? Okay, so the bead's right. I just need to take more off the actual. Let's check the bead on that side. Let's have a look. Okay, I've got some weirdness going on this side as well. So probably want to come up here. Let's come up this side, which is this one. And we're going to take a bit more off. Once it's glued, it does seem to stick really well, so you can kind of stretch it a little bit as well. So being bold now. Still keep thinking, wow, I'm cutting tyres up, this is not good. But that's the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. I'm just going to take that little lip out of there. Like that. How does that look? I could do it just taking it there. Right, let's check that out. How we're looking. It's got a little bulb out of there. Can you see there's a little rough bit there? There we go. Check that in there. How's that looking in there? Still coming out a little bit there. I'm going to take that bit in there a little bit more. I guess this is the fiddle, isn't it? Try that. Is that going to butt up to that? Okay. Yes. Is that going to butt up to that? I feel like it's pushing out quite a lot. But that's working. And then how we're looking on this side, if that's dropping down there. Yeah. So you can see it's kind of fitting together. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Cool. Okay, so what we're now going to do is we're going to try and tack a little bit together. What I found was the easiest way is to literally just to start off, put a little bit along here, and a little bit along here, and stick that bit together, let that set. It doesn't take very long with this stuff, and then do a little bit more, and then work your way down to the bead. And once you're down as far as you can go, you can then de-seat it and then just stick the rest of it together, and then just kind of put a little bit over the top where you need to. Just worried that that's still not perfect on that side. I feel like I'm pulling it out too much there. But the bead's looking okay. But when it comes to here, I'm not sure if that is going to sit in there nicely and sit in. Yeah, it feels like there's still too much. Let's check the other side. See how that's going to sit. It's going to go in there, okay. That goes in there. Feel free to fast forward to see what happens if this is boring. But see, that side feels all right. This side feels like I need to just take, oh no. Which was that side? This side. I feel like I want to take a little bit more just out of here. So I'm just going to take it up from there. Take out just that bit. Like that. Have a look on the other side. It's easier to look on the side that isn't is smooth. Just to see, make sure it's kind of smooth there. Right, so we're going to go with that. We're going to bang that in there. Just check that those bits are going together nicely. Yeah, okay, so first step is going to be getting that to bond onto that and lining it up right there, like that. Something like that. So I said this before, Loctite Super Glue Power Gel. Comes with a tiny little end on it, which makes life really easy. So I'm literally going to put some along this edge here, like that. Do one bit. I'm going to get this, I'm going to make sure I get it in the right place using these edges. And I'm going to push it together, check the other edge lines up. And then just hold it for about 30 seconds. Like that. Hopefully you can see that. Let's move it over a bit. Goes off pretty quick. It's worth just putting a little bit of a bend in it when you're holding it, because obviously when the foams are in, it's going to bend. I always end up blowing on this stuff. I don't know if it makes any difference, but I'll see if that holds. Yeah, there we go. And then pulling this out, what I'm going to do, I'll push it out of the way. I'm going to do the same on this edge here, down there. Okay, and now I'm going to push that together like that. Make sure everything looks like it's lined up, especially this bit here. Give it a little bit of bend, and I'm just going to hold that, blow on it again. Don't know if it makes any difference, but there we are. Hopefully that will grab hold of that. That's got it. Right, and then what you can do is you can start moving down the edges here. So my next bit's going to be just this bit in here. You can lift it up if you want. I'll put a little bit in there. And that just past the line, and we're going to push that into there, get that stuck in there. The sides seem to be harder than the top, which is why I thought we'd start with the top. Hold that in place. Make sure you don't stick yourself together, don't get it anywhere. It does come off with warm soapy water, but you don't want to be walking around with a J Concepts tyre on your finger for a little while. Okay, that's get binding into that. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to lift that up carefully. I'm going to try and put a little bit in there. I don't know how much you get in one of these glues, but it feels like it's running out already, and I've done one tyre. Okay, let's hold that in there. Blow on it because, you know. Now I've seen some people, they sand down the writing so it looks better. So that might be something that you want to do if you want to make it look nicer. I might try that, I don't know. Because otherwise you end up with writing. Oh, and I've stuck my finger again. Okay, so that's going. And then we'll do this bit, and then we'll leave it for half an hour, something like that, just to let it go off properly before we debead it. Yeah, definitely have a look at West Desert Wheeler's stuff. He's doing some amazing stuff. I think he even sells tyres made now. So he's obviously got the hang of it, unlike me. Don't expect me to be selling any of these. Sell the tyres obviously from our shop, LCG Crawler. But I don't suppose we're doing any cut and shuts to offer you, because these ain't pretty. Okay, so that's taken. But yeah, check out West Desert Wheeler's channel for probably some good examples of especially some running videos. He does amazing running videos. I don't know where he's based, but the rocks they've got there are just outstanding. I'm quite jealous of all these guys in the States. So if you're in the States, you're very lucky. You've got rocks. We've got no rocks around here to speak of. We have to travel and find them. But he seems to put together some amazing running videos and some good comp stuff as well. So if you like watching comp stuff, he does some really good filming of comps, which is always great to watch. I think gives you a really good idea as to where you're at with your competition, what to expect from your rig and things like that. Okay, so that's kind of in place. It's not looking too bad. Going to leave that alone now, prop it up and just let it seal off properly. Make sure you put the lid on your glue. Don't know if it says how much you get. 4 grams. It's not a lot of glue, is it? Right, that's feeling like that's going off. Right, so I will come back to you when that's gone hard. Okay, so here we are, halfway through. We've let it dry a lot. Now the last bit we've got to do is just finish it off. So to do that, I'm going to take it off the rim, because the rim's great for holding it while we're doing most of it, but the last bit obviously is on the beadlock bit, and we've got to get at that with a glue. So take these back off. There we are, put those in there. Take this apart. Hopefully I haven't super glued it in. I haven't done that yet, but I'm sure I'll do it at some point. I can never remember which way these come apart. There we go. Out you come. Like so. Pop that out of there. And take the ring out. So you can see we've just got to join that up to there, which is great. Join that up to there, and the same on the other side, and we are good to go. So back with our super glue, and we're going to start popping some more of this in. Hopefully again you can see this okay. And then probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bit over the whole lot as well, just to cover up any gaps. But this is kind of the most important bit to get right, because that's where the beadlock sits. So hold it in there. It's going. It's still not quite shut. Apparently you wait for about 30 seconds, but I haven't blown this one, so that might be why. There we go. It's not sitting there. It's not grabbing the bottom of the bead. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Might put too much glue in. Let it go off a bit more. Not convinced. Right, so we'll try this one, and then what I'll probably do is come back and put a bit of glue on the extra, the little bit where it hasn't quite gone. Get it up into there. Come and line this one up. There we go. It's quite hard to hold it and show you. There we are. Again, this is my second time doing this, so it's going to be quite hard to do a really good job, I think, but you get the idea. Maybe what I should have done is done a couple of test ones on some other tyres rather than just jumping in on brand new tyres and going for it, but that's a bit late. Stuck my finger as well. Okay, so that's one side done. We'll flip it over. Let's do this side. And we'll go along here. Get it right into there. There's quite a lot of coverage on this bit. Let's get that lined up. But the good thing is it's all lining up quite well, except for the writing, of course, but I'm not sure there's not you can do with that, unless, like I said, you sand it down first to improve its look. But we'll get that all stuck in there. So I'm quite excited to try these out. The theory's good, and I've seen people using them. Not so much in the UK actually. If you are in the UK and you're using them, drop something down in the comments. Let's hear what your experience is. So this is very much an experiment. You know, is this going to be better than running full-size 2.2 Ruptures? Or am I wasting a whole load of money? But I guess that's what you got to do with it, with this sort of stuff. You got to try stuff and see what works for you. And again, the fact that it works or doesn't work for me doesn't necessarily work on your rig. So there's always a lot of personal preference as well, and different people's driving styles and things like that. So there's no right or wrong, I don't think. So the wrong thing would be to stick my fingers to the tyre, which is what I'm trying to do now. Oh look, that bead's coming out. You can't see it, but there's a bit of glue underneath. I'm trying not to hold the bit of glue because I don't want to stick my finger to the tyre, but at the same time I've got to hold it in place long enough for the glue to grab. There we go. So again, you need to let that go off for a good amount of time before you use it in anger. But there we are. One cut and shut J Concepts Landmine from a 1.9 to a 2.2. I've got 2 more to do. I'm not going to make you suffer watching that again. If you want to see it again, just rewind. But there we are. We've done it. Let that go off. Then we'll have 2. I've got 2 more to do, and then what I'll probably do is do a bit of a running video so you guys can see what it's like. Let's stand that up. I'm going to put some of these in, which are the fabulous Crazy Crawler FT, what do they call them? FT Pros, that way around. Crazy Crawler FT Pros. I'm going to run the same as I'm running in the Yuki. So I'm going to run on the outside, I'm going to run a large soft, then I'm going to run a hard, and then a medium there, and that will give you that nice edging so that it will hook up on things, but it still keeps the whole thing from moving side to side. In fact, we could try it in this one and see. Let's move that one out of the way. Oh, bit of glue there. I seem to have spread a bit of glue about. Let's put the lid on before it gets any worse. This is turning into a how not to, isn't it? Okay, so assuming the green dot is the outside, so I'm going to stack these in one at a time. So we'll start with this is the heavy duty foam, they call it. So that's going to go in there. First of all, it's a bit more fiddly when you're putting three in at the same time. Now also these are 1.9s, so the other thing that we're going to do is going to have to stretch it over the ring. So that will make a little bit more. And then this is the Spur Master, they call it, and it's a real rigid foam, and that's going to stop the thing from sliding side to side. So we'll try and get that in as best we can. It's always a little bit like stuffing Sonic the Hedgehog into a sleeping bag, I always think. So that's in there, like so, and then we're going to put this one in here. Now it may well be that these just aren't big enough and I have to go up a size, because obviously we're dealing with a 2.2 and I'm putting in 1.9 foams. So we will see how full they get and how much support. It's looking like there's not enough, if I'm honest, so it might be a rethink. Might have to go back to standard dual stages or something and try it, but I'd really like these to work, so let's see how we go. So we'll pop this bad boy in here. It's a good test of the gluing as well, because I'm having to kind of force it in a little bit, as you can see. Well, hopefully you can see. So we're pushing that in. What I'd like to do is get that up out of the way first. There we go, around there. And over there. Then we can get it in with all these foams. Get them seated nicely. So it's going to be a bit of a... Oh, you see, I'm not convinced. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see there's... I think we're going to have to talk to Crazy Crawler and get him to do some 2.2s. Because I think this, even with the stretched out, we'll try it though. And what we might have to do is put in a wider version of the soft foam. Sorry, of the stiffer foam, to pack it out a little bit more. Because that's still a little bit too... I don't want that much give. Can you see? I want more. So actually, let's try that now. So bear with me. Let's have a look. So we're going to take this one out, and I'm going to see if I've got a slightly fatter version of that to go on the outside, which I should have over here. So here we are. So these are heavy duty 20s, and what we'll do is we'll try putting a heavy duty 20 in to pack it out a bit. So it's not a massive difference, you can see the difference there, but we'll see if that makes the difference and brings the tyre around a bit more. It's going to fatten it up a little bit, which is what I was trying to get away with, but not as much as with the Ruptures. Make sure that's all seated nicely. It's looking at maybe a bit better actually. Let's get the Sperm Master in the right place. Actually, that feels much better. You can see where it's not stretched quite right there, but we'll give it a go. Give it a go. as well. So we'll put these in, put 4 in just to hold it, so you don't have to watch all of it. But I'm pretty convinced. I think for the rears, what I'll probably do is run hards, or heavy duty as they call them, in the rears, because I like a little bit more stability, and I think especially with the 4-wheel steer, I think that's going to help it out a bit, and gives the rear a bit more stability. But the front, I want that soft, so it hooks up when you're kind of turning, hooking up onto things. So let's have a look. Oh yeah, look at that. So we've got, can you see we've got soft there. It's still a bit squidgy, and it'll take a bit of riding up, but we haven't got this movement that we had with the Ruptures. I think that's going to be all right. I think that's going to be good. It's not going to move too much sideways. There we go. How about that? Definitely going to give this a try. It feels really good. Feels solid, because you've got that spur master running through the middle. It's not moving side to side, but it's soft enough that it's going to be compliant when you're going over things, and on the outside it's much softer, so it will hook around on things and bite. So there we go. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. What I'll try and do is I'll try and finish them off and then do some running video so you guys can see them running. But there we are. There is J Concepts Landmines taken from 1.9 to 2.2 for my Flatgekko C23 4-wheel steer